You just did. Well, before we get started, is there anything that you don't like feel comfortable rapping about?
Dude, just fire away, and if something comes up, oh, dude, I pick up that mug. Have the same mugs at home.
Do you really?
Yeah,
The exact same mug. It's like kind of got clay on the bottom,
that's right. Yeah,
and
it's the same mug. Yeah,
I love these kind of
right.
ceramic mugs.
Well, if it's not exactly the same, it's very very similar. Very similar. We'd have to like feel the texture.
It's
So,
quite textured. It's like a muddy clay kind of thing. I
okay,
don't know.
cool. Yeah, cool.
Well, man, this is
No,
great.
just ask, and if I say something stupid
Yeah,
or if there's something that I'm not comfortable talking about, I'll just say it, and then we can just edit it out.
totally. Absolutely. And you can always, like, if there's something that sticks out, you can even look at it and be like, I don't know if that's gonna, it's easy to fix.
Cool, bro. Let
But
me know if I start getting a little too dark. It's snowing outside now. The clouds are gathering.
yeah,
So let me know if it gets too dark. I think the lighting from my laptop it looks all right now. But
it looks great right now. And if you have a new laptop, it'll probably adjust to the light a bit.
good.
Great. Well, let's do it then, brother. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm ready.
Awesome.
I already feel like we've got some good little.
I do too. So Daniel, you are in New Mexico and you're in quarantine, right? Is that what's happening right now?
That's right. Yeah, I'm in quarantine. I get to leave the room though. Within the hotel, I get to go to the gym, but they have to escort me down there by myself, sanitize everything, and I can use the gym. But I've got to sort of block out a period of time, and I get to get picked up to take my COVID test as well. So I've got to do like multiple COVID tests while I'm here to make sure that I'm okay to walk on set.
And what are you in quarantine for? What are you shooting?
Yeah, I booked a nice little role on Fox pilot, Fox and Warner Brothers, and it's called The Cleaning Lady. It's about an illegal immigrant sisters that come to the States and they're working in Vegas. It's a show set in Vegas, and the lead actress ends up working for the mob, cleaning
Uh,
dead bodies and whatnot. The Cleaning Lady. It's a great script. Really exciting drama. I'm going to say drama with family heart.
oh wow. Okay,
It's
cool.
all about family. It's all about moving forward, and it's all about
Yeah.
coming from um, that point of view of someone that's over here for the right reasons in the wrong circumstance.
Right, right, right.
As an
Right,
illegal
right.
immigrant.
And when you auditioned for it, did you have to audition kind of like this, like on Zoom? It
I,
was,
yeah.
what
So
do you like that?
I hate going in the room, man. Going in the room is just like too much pressure.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's enjoyable sometimes once you've built a relationship with the casting directors, but look, these casting directors have to see so many people. You don't get a hell of a lot of time to really acquire the material in a way to just walk in there, do what you know what it's like, mate. You go in there, you
Yeah.
do one take, maybe two takes, and that's it. And you have to convince all the people that watch this tape that you're the right actor for the job. I love this way. I do self-tape at home. I get the reader that I want to work with, and I can do as many or as little takes as I want until I
Yeah.
feel like I've done what I wanted to do with the scene. And then when it comes to callbacks and director sessions and producer sessions, then it's on Zoom,
Right.
and I kind of like that because I've acquired the character by then. Oops, that was a bit loud, wasn't it?
Yeah. That's all right. This the world of Zoom. Did you see that Zoom where the guy was a cat, where the judge came on and he had a Zoom filter where he was a cat?
Yeah.
He's like,
I,
I'm.
sorry, Paul, I just got a message from my
Yeah, do it. I don't care.
I just got a message from my wife, and she just reminded me that it's my dad's birthday today in Australia.
Oh,
Day ahead, so I always like get mixed up with birthdays and things like that. But
yeah. Go ahead, handle that. Let me see if I make sure my notifications are fully off here too, so they don't
you know,
make noise. Your dad, for some reason, when we were filming several years ago, there was something going on with your dad that was really intense while we were filming. I remember it was at your grandpa. It was your grandpa, I think. You remember when we were filming When Calls a Heart? That I think it was the last year. There was something going on back home, and you really wanted.
well, that I mean, we can talk about that in a moment. But there was a
Yeah.
couple while I was shooting When Calls a Heart, I had a crazy couple of years where I lost like 7 people close to me, and that was when we lost when Dad was over. Is when we right around that time, my grandmother was his mother was close to passing, and she passed not long after that. So. Hang on one sec, Paul.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Let me just organize this. Apologies, mate.
No, take care. I'm glad we can do it this way, that you're in New Mexico. We were going to try to do this interview in person, which is, always odd and, with COVID and everything. But it's also like I've never done it this way on Zoom. And actually, really, I've done it. I've been interviewed this way a couple times. And I really like it because we'll release it as a podcast, and then we'll release the video maybe a week or two after for those that, once it's cool if they can see the video along with the audio later.
I think that our collective fans are going to like seeing our mugs on there.
Yeah, and we have so many questions from fans that we can look into a little bit later too. We'll go over a few. Oh, there you go. That looks your hair. Look at your hair. Look how long your hair is. What's the? It's you have a man. You could play tennis. You could play pro tennis, and look like you know what you're doing. Now, is this a character thing, or is this something you just haven't done in a while? You just wanted to give it a shot.
This is a character thing for this particular role, but it was a me thing before it was a character thing because I haven't been to a hairdresser for so long. Other than kind of tidying it up myself, which is or Nadia would help me kind of trim, clip of the back fluff.
I know the fluff that goes wild here, that grows different textures as you get older. It grows different colors back here. It's like, what the? What's going on?
We know.
We know. I love that. So let's just talk. Nadia's right on. She just messaged you. You're newly married. I know this is one of the most incredible things that's happened. How long have you been married, and how did that whole thing? We're going to jump all over the place, by the way. We're not going to follow a linear thing. If something comes up, we'll just talk about it.
Let's just talk like you and I always talk.
Yeah.
Which is just like bang, bang, bang.
Yeah. Oh, shoot.
By the way, on Instagram this morning, that was a great night. Do you remember that night?
That was a really fun night. Was that the night?
We were in Vancouver. I think I had just wrapped for the day, and I came to meet you, and we were meeting a few other friends from
Andrew Walker was in town that night too, wasn't it? Or was that a different night?
That was a different night.
That was a really fun
where we met up with Martin, and Aaron and Ben and some of the
That's right. And we went back to my place, and that time, and then the time we went out with Andrew Walker too. I just remember every time we're out, we just laugh our faces off and have the best time ever. And that's, I mean, you not being in Vancouver is it's a bummer for me too, because I miss kind of that.
Me too.
The hangs, and this year was super weird because because of COVID, there was almost no social time. So not only are you away from your family, you can't see them. You can't really see your film family much either. It was a bizarre year. And so you were quarantined in the lockdown with your being newly married to Nadia, so tell me just a little bit about how you guys met and how this kind of came together, that you fell in love and you got married and here you are.
Yeah. I think how much I love to travel, and I was traveling in 2018 for the second time in Iceland, and I was there with a great mate of mine, Richard Brecadesano, and we were just having a boys' trip where I'd finished shooting Christmas in Love, and just wanted a holiday again. And so I went over there. I met some of my really close Icelandic friends. One of them is Dari Ingolfsson, a great Icelandic actor living in LA, and his friend Ari. And we just hung out in Reykjavik. So we were kind of there, and Richie and I had planned to do the ring road again and sort of see some of that beautiful nature. And I guess it was like the second night I was in Reykjavik. We walked into a bar and I saw this woman standing there, and I was smitten. So I bought her a drink, we had a chat, and then we ended up hanging out, you know. And there was something a little bit more than a holiday fling, you know. So we stayed in touch. We spoke almost every single day on FaceTime and whatever. And then we decided we should meet up, and we did, and we fell in love, and she moved to the States. I mean, this is the nutshell version, man, but
go for it. Where's she from though?
She's from Poland. Yeah,
okay.
Just a town outside of Krakow. So she came over to the States, and we spent some time together, and I guess she did a few trips like that, and then I asked her to move over, and then we ended up, you know, getting married. And now we've got a little fur baby. We're living together. We're building a life, and it's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. And is she in this industry, or is she in another industry? I mean, how?
It's, you know, she graduated. She's 28 now. She graduated with a master's in business just when I had met her. She was 25 at the time.
Okay.
And then she was doing some teaching and translating, and was about to get into the corporate world over there, but I kind of put a spanner in her works of a plan, so to speak, and flew her over to the States. And you know, I'm an American citizen now. We're married. We're going through the immigration process, which has been slowed down a little bit because of COVID and a number of other factors. But yeah, mate, we're kind of like just, you know, building that now. So
building a life together.
That's it, brother. That's what we do, right?
And like me, I know Kate and I are engaged, and Kate's Australian as well.
Well, I know Kate. She's awesome. Kate Austin. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant woman.
Brilliant woman. I mean, Aussies, what I love about you Aussies is you're so authentic. From every experience that I've had with an Australian person is full of beans, like full of life, gregarious, very straight shooting, always up for fun, but also very, very brutally honest sometimes, like meaning Americans are quite sensitive compared to an Aussie. And like, if, you know, I've watched Kate interact with people, and she has the heart of gold, and she'll see something, she'll say it, and some people would get offended. And now that I've known her for 7 years, I know her heart. But like, what's one of the things, why do you think that is about Australians, that they're so straight?
It's cultural. You know, every country has their cultural dynamic. And I think with Australians, we're brought up in a society where, you know, that kind of banter, there's a lot of banter, like similar to the UK. There's a lot of sort of dry wit, banter, sarcasm, but there's also a lot of honesty with good intention, especially with the people that you're close with, you know. Not beating around the bush, so to speak, or not being polite for the sake of being polite, but coming from a good place and going, you know, you effed up there, mate. Or, you know, you're just straight with it.
Yeah.
That's a cultural thing, I think, more so. I think in the States, you've got that as well, you know, in my experience, and certainly with the people that, you know, I've become close with. But there is that kind of dynamic at the moment where people are like careful with their dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which is you know, that whole PC thing is a bit frustrating sometimes when it comes to relating in an honest way.
Especially doing business, because like I know you have been really busy creating other businesses. Like you're an actor first, but you're also an entrepreneur, and I'd love, just a great segue to hear about some of the businesses and some of the cool things if you want to share about those.
Let me
Yeah.
keep talking, brother. I'm gonna turn on my little lamp here because
Oh, I like that. It gives you a cute little side key light. It's one of the fundamentals of film lighting.
really.
Sure. Yeah, you need a
Hang
bit
on,
of a
how
side, like you got your key light here, and then you get like a little bit of side
there you
going
go.
on. That looks good. Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, you're looking good. You're looking good. I remember
How
this
are you,
doing.
buddy?
I
You,
remember
as always.
the what?
I want to talk to you about your diet, by the way. This, you know, eating for your blood type and things like that. But we can get there.
Yeah,
I don't know where to be right now, so
I know. I'm with you, man. I have nowhere to be either. I blocked out a good chunk of time before we get into diet and nutrition, because it's, you know, it's for us actors. It's so important, I think, to be able to, if we need to quickly get in shape, and always just to feel like our instruments ready to rip if we're given the opportunity to do something, right? So I'd love to talk about that. Just before we do, I remember this German guy I worked with, I met, who was a business guy, and he's like, if you put an Aussie in front of me and a Canadian and an American, I would do business first with the Aussie and then the Canadian and then the American. That was just his experience of doing business. And you're doing a bunch of businesses. Do you want to share just a bit about what you've been up to? Because you've been really productive and creative.
yeah, that's it. You know, I mean, you know as well as I do that this industry that we are in, the entertainment industry, the certainly from the acting point of view, is fantastic. And when you're working, and then you cannot be working, or the industry could shut down, or there's a multitude of things that don't give you security in this industry. The kind of security that, you know, once you've finished a gig, then that you go straight back to the drawing board where you have to, you know, start interviewing for jobs again, auditioning.
Yeah.
And that's a process there. I mean, if you're not lucky enough to be, you know, Paul Greene of Hallmark, movie after movie, TV show after TV show, like I used to be, then you know, you really have to sort of diversify a little bit of your thinking when it comes to the way you want to do business in your life, you know, and whether that be inside the industry or outside. But I think it's important to have multiple revenue streams and I think a little bit broader than I was thinking when I had first come over to the States. So I had first come over with a single-minded focus of this is all I'm going to do, this is all I'm going to focus on, and it paid off for me and it's working well. And that's kind of where I'm coming back to now, where I'm starting to put a lot more focus into the acting side of things that I got a little complacent with for a little while there. And I during that time since I've been over here, I've was lucky enough to make good money through my work as an actor, and then learn a little bit about how to make that money work for me, and also get involved with projects and businesses that I'm passionate about and believe in. So I am an investor in a couple of companies. One is an alcohol company. You know,
Aussies, man. Is it like, what is it, tequila, or is it?
No. So there's a beautiful vodka, Helix, and a skewer gin.
Okay.
That a good mate of mine that I've known for a long while. He and his business partner own Icelandic glacier water. I met these guys in Iceland, and so I got involved with them. They use that water. The spirit is carbon filtered 7 times. It's premium, and it's at a good price point for the consumer as well. So I liked what they were doing, and I invested in that business, which is good. And then I had an opportunity to invest in and be a partial owner of a fast food plant-based burger company. And with the boom of plant-based eating, and with more and more people getting conscious about the amount of meat and animal products that they put in their body. I by the way, I just want to be clear, I eat meat and I really enjoy it. I just make sure that where I source it from is, a decent kind of place, not those huge kind of farms eating corn and things like that. That doesn't excite me too much. But anyway, that's beside the point. The point is I invested in this great company that's doing really well, based out of Sacramento.
Amazing.
And we're just about to open our third store, with a fourth store in about 6 months' time. And we're sort of taking over that market there. It's called Burger Patch. Cool. And if you do live in the Bay Area or the Sacramento area, check it out. It's just in Midtown there, that first store. In Davies, the second store. You'll know if you live in the area. If you don't, then you'll have no idea, like I didn't. But I like the people running it, the founders. I thought they have a really good philosophy. I like the way they do business. I like the way they give back to the community.
Awesome.
I really like what they sort of stood for, not only with their, the burger's got to be good, the shakes have got to be great, their IP's got to be, really good, and it's got to be replicable in, multiple businesses that move forward. So they sort of ticked all those boxes, and I like them as people. And at the end of the day, it's just got to be a tasty burger, and it is. It's a very tasty burger.
Okay, good. And like fries and the whole thing. They have like a salad.
The whole thing, yeah.
The whole
thing. Check it out, Burger Patch. I mean, just look on their website. You'll see what they're doing. It's very exciting.
And during because there's writer strikes, there's
I have another business as well, but I'll get into that another time.
You have another.
I mean, this is just investing in stuff, but I've actually started an entertainment company in Las Vegas.
All right, you were tell us about that. I know you were telling me a little bit.
Yeah. So that's a new thing, and we're working with some really interesting creators, and we're kind of rethinking the way people enjoy entertainment, especially based on this pandemic that's come through and crowding together. We're kind of, I'll be talking about that in the months to come, as we start going live. But this has been, look, mate, this has been a period since I left When Calls the Heart of seed planting of not only businesses but creative works in the entertainment business as well that I'm working on. I mean, I'm busy. I'm really busy, mate.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. So it's all going really well. I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot about since I left When Calls the Heart, because I know that most of the people that are going to be watching this, the fans out there, love you guys, are going to be interested in that story. And we can go back in time, Matt, if you want, and have
I'd love to
chat about that. But since leaving there, just a multitude of beautiful things and challenging things have sort of come into my life, and I've taken on challenges that are scary and beyond me a little bit. As you know, I've been writing a television series for the last 2 years with my co-producer and creator. So there's a lot going on, mate.
Some of the fan questions were about that, how that
right.
movie, that series is coming, and because the short film was so impactful, and it's called The Answers, right?
No, so that's the short film. So the short film is called The Answers. And that went really well for us. We won a bunch of awards with that one. You've seen it. I think you came to the premiere.
I didn't come, but I saw.
Oh, you didn't. That was just before you were on.
I think so.
Before we met, yes.
Yep.
God, it was so long ago. I look back at that, and I was talking to Mike. Mike Goode is my my writing partner, co-producer, partner in crime with all that stuff. And we were saying, like, man, we did that a long time ago, and we've both been so busy that the time really kind of flew.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been just wanting so badly to work together again and do something exciting and fresh and creative and create. We're creating a television series. We've written the pilot. We're putting together our pitch package now.
Mm-hmm.
We've got our story for the first season. And one of the things why we're taking so much time is because with a creative project like that, it takes on a life of its own, and there's a period once you've got the core of what the show's about. There's this refining period of delivery system, if you will, to give something to a network or to an audience that's unique but universal. And so those kind of themes, which we all have in all the series that we love, those universal themes that everyone can relate to, that's, for me, key in any kind of storytelling. Mm-hmm. But you really have to have a delivery system that's, not the same old run-of-the-mill thing that you've seen a million times,
Right, exactly.
There's so many shows out there that I feel like, haven't I seen this before? No, it's just brand new. And so it takes a long time to write, refine, mm-hmm. set tone, build characters that we hope audiences, when we get to that place, I mean, we've got to sell the thing and make the thing first, but we're getting close to that. This is this year's project.
And the audience, like, obviously the Hardys are such a massive movement, and you are such a important piece to the way that this show that I'm currently on started. And I love to hear the beginning. You shared some bonkers stories of When Calls a Heart season 1 at the end of the year, at the end of this first season, when you were working 2 different units, like 20 hours. I really want to get into that. And for those of you who don't know what we're talking about there, Daniel Lissing here is and I are both on Daniel was on When Calls a Heart, and I actually called Daniel before I took the role, and I was like, Bud, should I do this? Like, what's it like? What are the people like, and what is the show like? And I'm really glad you didn't take a lot of convincing, because you showed.
I think we just wanted to get a point of view from an actor who was on the ground, a male actor.
Yeah.
In the same kind of category as actors, kind of thing. Yeah. And I think that you just wanted an honest point of view from a fellow actor, more so than from agents, managers, producers, da da da. Yeah. And Paul called me, and he asked a million questions. They were all the right questions to ask. And I know it was very, very candid with him, and I think it was just one of those things where it's like, you got to do it. Mm-hmm. Great team. It's a really fun show to work on, and unless you have something else that's holding you back from saying yes, something that you really have to do. Yeah. Then you should definitely do it. And then we were working together within a month or so after that, or whatever it was.
Yeah, it happened pretty quick. It happened pretty quick, for sure.
Yep.
It was on that. And so I want to get
into so many scenes together. I really bloody wish that we had more stuff together, but they kind of kept that. Right at that time, there was all these kind of storylines going on, and I guess our storylines were predominantly separate, but that would have been fun.
It would have been fun to do more. There was just really one or two, one with you and Aaron, I think, and then one with the Wood when I first came to town. But there was like,
what are you doing here?
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's still, it's, I played Dr. Carson Shepherd on the show, and I have a lot of things in the infirmary with Andrea Brooks' character Faith, but there's interacting with other townsfolk. It's like, it's not the easiest thing for writers to make happen in a natural way, to get people out of their little zones and really have it mesh as friendships and relationships, which is one of the challenges, I think, with such a humongous cast. But before we get into When Calls a Heart, just share with the audience a little bit before that. Like, were you always going to be an actor? Like when you were young, did you train in Sydney? What, take us back kind of to the beginning. Like you're born, I know you're born in Australia, but where? And take us through the early Daniel of kind of discovering that you wanted to do this and that. Can you take, then we'll arrive into When Calls a Heart a little bit too. I want to, and what you did just before When Calls a Heart.
That's right. Well, let's go way before When Calls a Heart. I was born in Sydney, Australia.
Let's do that.
I was born in Paddington's Women's Hospital, which doesn't exist anymore, in 1981 on the 4th of October at 2:25 in the afternoon. I grew up in just outside the city in Sydney, on the eastern suburbs beaches, and I had a great childhood, lots of sport. I have a younger sister. Really great, supportive, amazing parents. Great extended family. I'm lucky, really, really lucky. So my childhood was a good childhood. And growing up, I always loved dancing and seeing movies and then like acting out the characters' voices or pretending I'm the hero. So I think little boys or whatever, we always kind of play like that, and it didn't hit me until much later on that, hey, if I'm an actor, I get to play for a living. I get to be a little boy for my whole life.
Right.
But I was a movie buff. I still am. TV show buff. I love my couch time. I really am yeah, dude, I'm so lazy sometimes. I'll just sit there for like 2 days straight and binge shows and watch movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's my favorite thing to do, and it inspires me.
Sure.
That's the thing. I get inspired by great content or great writing or especially great performances.
Mm-hmm.
But growing up, I think you have that fantasy. I want to be a movie star or something like that. That childhood fantasy, but it didn't really kind of click for me as something that was real. I ended up in my later teens, picking up a guitar and kind of falling a little bit in love with music. And so when I had left school, the first thing I did, actually I was a forklift driver in a steel company for about 9 months.
How did you get from Sydney to being at a steel plant doing because Sydney is a pretty happening.
It's in Sydney.
Sorry,
it's in Sydney, western suburbs of Sydney.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So we've got our industrial part of the city, like any other city.
Uh-huh.
And all that. During that time, I was writing music and learning my craft a little bit more. I was a roadie for some bands and things like that. I just knew I wanted to be in the music industry. That's it. I just wanted to play music and tour and sing and all that kind of stuff, right? And so I did that. I did that for years. I ended up having a company that I was sort of booking and performing corporate gigs for big companies and booking entertainment, and then I would have my band as well that would do these big kind of cover gigs. And that was the bread and butter while I was writing and recording and producing original music. I ended up playing for the troops overseas, Australian troops, in a couple of different parts where troops were stationed. That's one of my proudest things. I was recognised by the Australian Defence Force, given like a medal of like service. So that was
all right.
It still hangs on my wall to this day.
And with the service, with the soldiers, and that you were playing your originals or also some covers?
Both, yeah. So
both.
We did a couple of original tours, and then we did like some cover songs as well.
What was the band called?
The band was originally called Casino, and then it was called Crash City.
Okay, all right.
And, we weren't famous. We could have been, but the band broke. We ended up putting together this whole big tour with Sony and the whole shebang, and the bass player eloped to Italy and got married.
It's always a girl. It's always a girl that breaks up the band.
And I worked with a great guy. We were really close for many years. A guy named James Ryan, who was a great singer, songwriter, and an amazing guitarist. And we just wrote. I mean, we must have written 50, 60 songs together in a couple of year period there, and we had a good library of music that we recorded and that we were ready to sort of take on, but it wasn't meant to be. And I guess I went through a period of time in my mid-20s. There were things going on outside, in personal life and things like that that were challenging as well. And so I found myself through my music managers working, going to some auditions for like acting stuff, like commercials and things like that. And I think it was in, let me think about this, 2009 maybe. And I was 26, 27, something like that. I got to do the math, but it's around there, 27, 28.
Yeah.
I booked this little audition that I went for a short film called Multiple Choice. And I had no idea what I was doing as an actor, but it was through my music managers, and I thought this would be fun, whatever.
Yeah.
So I just learned like the one-page kind of scene that they gave me, and I went in there and I, did my thing. And I went on set, and it was a 2-day shoot, and the director of that was amazingly collaborative and asked us what we thought. It was like a 3-hander, right? So it was three young guys working together, and we did this silly film. We got to beat up a car, and Multiple Choice. Check it out. I think it's on YouTube. It's a
right on. Okay.
Fun little film. There's a couple of great actors in it: Nathaniel Buzolic and Daniel Weber. And if you Google those guys, you'll see the amount of work they're doing over here in the States now. So killing it. Yeah.
Was it their first thing? Was it their first thing too? Like, was it a brand?
I don't think so. I was kind of late to the game with acting. I did a couple of scene study classes. I bought 8 and I went to like 4 of them, kind of thing. Was like, wasn't too into the acting classes, but that's changed now. I mean, it's all about learning and growing as an actor. But at the time, I was like, whatever.
Right.
And the funny thing about that short film, that director, Mike Goode, my producing partner now. So so that's where I met him. And you know why I became an actor? Because I was so inspired with that collaborative process. I was on set, and I remember when we wrapped that second day of shooting, that last day, I sort of sat there by myself, just I can't even remember, I was on a rock or something, in this place we were shooting. And I sat there and I sort of welled up a little bit. I had tears in my eyes because, when they say you catch the bug, you get the acting bug. I got it right then and there. And I remember thinking, this is it. I found what I'm meant to do.
Wow.
And that was the moment for me. And I called my mum and I said, I'm going to be an actor. Like straight away, I was like really kind of inspired. And Mike Goode had a lot to do with that. His directing style. It was just something that clicked for me. And I was like, we're creating art here. We're creating something.
Yep.
We have this thing, and we're making more of it through that process of artistry and collaboration. And that in itself is really inspiring to me. I mean, that's what I'm all about, the artistry of it.
how many years between when Mike Good worked with you back then in Sydney to the Answers to now? Like, what's the time span there?
So we just became, mates
Yeah.
initially, and then he had moved back to the States, but we caught up like 5 or 6 times after that shoot, and then I'd been over to the States and caught up here, and I guess it was in 2014 or so. So it was like 5 years later that he was around at my house and we were having a beer in LA, and we're like, we should do something together again, man. We should like make something. I had such a good time there working with you that first time. I would never even crossed our mind before,
Right.
idiotically. And we literally sat there and had some beers, and within half an hour we came up with a story, basic story for the Answers, and then we made it. And it, maybe within 2 months after that beer, we had sort of pulled everything together, shot it, and then had it done. And we paid for it ourselves, and it was a passion project. And since then we're like, I've been working a lot. He'd been working a lot as well, and I guess a number of years had passed, maybe 3 or 4 years before we said, dude, we need to do something serious together. Not a short film, not an Answers movie. We tried to write that script, but for me, it was like, it wasn't inspiring to me because I felt like the story was told in that 8 minutes.
It was. So is the series related to Answers in any way, or is it totally different?
Totally different. Yeah.
Okay, good. That was one of the fan questions, was about the movie.
Yeah, it's totally different.
But how did you get from Sydney to to your apartment where Mike would come over in Los Angeles? Like, how did you go from forklift driver, band roadie, and also booking and playing and performing for the troops to that? I get that moment was super defining. And then what was your next step after you got bit by the bug? Did you immerse into acting school, or how did you?
Yeah. So then I started learning as much as I could, and I knew that all the films that really inspired me and television shows that really inspired me were in the States. And so I started American accent classes. I had a housemate at the time, the guy I mentioned that I went traveling with in Iceland, Richard Brancatasana, Richie.
Yeah.
So he was my housemate for like 3 years.
Jeez.
And he's an actor as well, a great actor. He's doing a film right now in Australia. And we made a rule. Only American accent in the house if it's just the two of us.
Really?
So I'm not joking. Like, we were so serious about this. Like, we go out and order our lunch. We lived in Bondi Beach, right?
Yeah, he's an Aussie too.
He's an Aussie, yeah. And we ended up going out and ordering our food in American accent. It was terrible. I was really rolling my R's with every word I said, and the R's weren't in. And so I ended up going to some classes. I ended up learning some vocal exercises and techniques. I ended up doing scene study classes. I got myself an acting agent, and he was an American guy, and he ended up facilitating, living in Australia, and he ended up facilitating some jobs, some auditions for the States through some kind of, I guess, audition facilitators, managers over here. And I did one pilot season where I would just self-tape in Sydney, and this is in 2010 and 2011. And during that period of time, I started working more in Australia. I started booking little guest roles, recurring roles on television shows, doing little films, and I was getting better. And then, I mean, I must have done 50 auditions or something like that over a 2-year period, and, it was terrible. I still have those audition tapes. One day I'll...
You should release them. You should just do a YouTube channel of all your old songs that you recorded with your band, like, so that they'll stream with some pictures from that time, and then the worst auditions, or just and all the old auditions.
You should see some of these auditions, mate.
It'd be great. You should.
Next time I see you, brother.
Okay.
But it was at the beginning of 2012, and I was hungry. I was really hungry to work in the States, and I had active friends coming over here the years preceding that, and saying, why don't you just come over and see what happens? I'm like, I'm not going to show up to a party I'm not invited to. And that was my thing. I'm like, I'm not going to just rock up and like every other actor and say, hey, I'm looking for an agent. What have you done? Not much, you know? And have that kind of like, I was keen, but I wanted to let my work get me over here, you know? And that's what happened. I mean, I auditioned, I think it was one of the first auditions I did. I think it was January 4th, 2012 that I got a self-tape in. And it was for Last Resort. And it was a Sean Ryan show, Carl Gadgesek, shooting in Hawaii, ABC, Sony. And I was just at that place where it was just the right time for me. And I did this audition. I ended up getting a call back, and I got on a Skype call with Sean and Carl. And they're like, so man, let's talk about these scenes. You're going to do these another audition tape. Love what you did in the first one. Don't try so hard. Don't do the crazy eyes. I was green. I was not Paul Bean, but I was green, man. And I was, I'd be like really like
intense.
Everything was like really intense and, you know, too much. Looking back now, at the time, the character was intense, but I was showing it.
Yeah.
And I took their words to heart. I worked with an acting coach. I sent a tape off, and my agent called me and he's like, "You're in the mix. You're being tested for this, and if you get tested, and they take like 2 or 3 actors, and then the studio and the network. You know what it's like. Every person involved with this project, from the studio, the network, the producers, everyone sees this tape and chooses, and essentially, majority rules, I suppose, or whoever the biggest boss is rules.
Right.
And I when I knew I was being tested, it was 4 days until I found out, and I think that I must have slept about 6 hours in those 4 days. I was wired. I was excited. I felt like this is it. And I remember I got that. I was dozing, and I must have just fallen asleep. 5 a.m. my time, just fallen asleep, like just lying there, like.
Yeah.
And I got a phone call. Phone rang. I left my phone on. Phone call. I answered the phone. I'm like, hello. Yeah, it's it was my agents, my managers, and my lawyer.
Yeah, whenever they all get on the phone, it's either really good news or it's terrible. Like,
or you're getting sued or something.
Yeah. But it's usually good when you have like, hold on, please hold for.
I've never had a bad call with the team on the phone call. So
yeah, neither have I actually. So it's a good thing.
It is a good thing. So everyone was on the phone, but I was in La La Land. I was just woke up,
asleep.
And they're like, so Danny boy, you got it. And I was like, huh? What? Can you call me back in 5 minutes? What? And I hung up the phone. And I walked to the bathroom and I just water on the face. And I looked at myself in the mirror. And I was just like, ding! They just said, I got it.
Right.
And then the phone rang again. And that was it. That was the happiest moment, I think, of the career to date, because it was that culmination of wanting to work in the States, working my butt off to
yeah, the actual.
I worked for years, mate. I worked for years on that accent. I worked for
years.
2 or 3 years of just really putting my head down and learning to be what it means to be an actor. And I was just scratching. I'm still just scratching the surface. I find that the more I acquire, the more I don't know.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
I love this journey. There's so much deeper to go though for me as an actor. I'm just still feel like I'm scratching the
Isn't that
What
interesting? There's times where it just ebbs and flows like any relationship too. There's times where it's like effortless, and I do, I don't know about you, but I'll learn a technique that requires me to do very little, and I'll just keep it super simple, like a David Mamet type thing. But then you'll go through another phase where you're like doing all the work, and it's just like all these pieces that everyone looks at you, Daniel, or looks at another actor and will be like, they've always been that way. But there's always this beautiful story and the hard work and the hundreds of auditions and the hundreds of no's and that one yes that's like, okay, Daniel, come to Hawaii, you're gonna come do this show. What is The Last Resort? Is it a series?
you should check it out, dude. You'd like it.
Was
Yeah,
it?
it's a military series. I played a Navy SEAL on that show. It only did 13 episodes, unfortunately. So it did one season over there. It was just, it's just such a shame about the timing of it all. Right in 2012, 2013 is when the whole DVR thing was happening, and networks were seeing numbers that were lower than what they were used to. And then, of course, the +3 and the +7 would bring those numbers up, right? As you know now, that's just a normal thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we got like 10 million viewers for the pilot episode, and then we were getting like consistently 8, 7, 6 million viewers
Jeez.
per show, per episode. But that was their 8 o'clock on Thursday night, their prime time spot. We're up against The Big Bang Theory when that first just came out, and I think America's Got Talent or something like that as well.
Okay.
All the boys. So we had competition, and the numbers were still great.
Great.
But it was right at that time when the networks were like, we need this in the demo, we need this. And so that was just one of the shows that during that period of time that got cut.
Oh.
And It was hard because no other show had done those numbers after. It was all DVR and whatever, So yeah, times changed. And also with so much more streaming platforms coming in, the psychology of the industry hadn't caught up to what the technology was actually doing. And so I think that we were just a victim of that in a way, which was really, sad in a way, but, part of the journey.
So that brought you to America, and then did you just not go back? Did you go from, say, the shooting in Hawaii to LA, and then what happened like right after that?
Well, I was devastated that the show didn't get picked up. It was, what? It's so funny talking about acting. I look back at my acting then, and I'm like,
well, I know it's worse. You don't look back, bro. You just look forward.
You're right, mate.
Music too.
Okay, that was great. Don't get me wrong. There's some great moments and great scenes, but all in all, just the understanding of and the pacing of what it is to be on a show. That's one of we can get into When Calls Are Heart in a second, but
yeah,
that's something that was important to me to take. One of the main reasons I took the job with When Calls Are Heart, and I'll tell you that in a second.
Yeah.
So I came to the States. I came to LA after that, and I thought, all right, now's my time. This show's ended. I'm gonna do pilot season on the ground. I'm invited, right? And I'd never auditioned in the States, and it was the most daunting.
That's awful.
Period. And also, I was, this, guy that just came off a series regular of this big ABC show. I was a fresh face. I'd never auditioned in LA before on the ground, never met these casting directors in person before. And I was bombarded with like 3 auditions a day, sometimes 4, sometimes 1 on a good day. But I just couldn't keep up. Just couldn't keep up. And I was doing great auditions. I tested for a couple of things, didn't book it, but got really close at that first pilot season to a couple of things. And then I guess it was May, just after pilot season, and I just had a month of just like, what just happened? Where am I? What is it? I got a phone call from my managers, and they were like, there's this show on Hallmark, and they're looking to do serialized drama rather than just the Hallmark movies up until that point. And so I think that Chesapeake Shores was their first one, and then When Calls the Heart was their second show.
Okay.
Initially, and that's when Bill Abbott and Michelle Vickery over there were looking to do that serialized drama stuff, which has panned out for them beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
And so I ended up, I didn't go through any audition process really. I went straight to the test phase where I was invited in with Andrew Walker. I didn't know that he was there. I didn't know him at the time. And there was another actress named Elizabeth. I can't remember her last name. And then there was Erin. And the whole idea was that I got 2 scenes, right, the night before.
So different than Australia, right? Like Australia, you go into a room off book, where in America, at least in some instances, you can have that thing. And you see Tom Hanks even way back doing this crazy audition with this script right here. It's just like reading it. So different a room in Sydney as there is to a room like in LA.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's one of the hardest things that I had to learn. I was so used to knowing it. I felt like I had to know it. I had to know the words off by heart. And it really, I bombed so many auditions just trying to do it rather than holding the script.
Yeah.
And just reading it and going, you want me to be off book? Give me more time.
Right. Or pay me. Or pay me to be off. Which is a law, by the way. It's a SAG law. It's a little fine print that somebody told me about this not that long ago, but like I don't know, nobody enforces it, but it's in our contracts that if they want us off book, we have to get paid for it. Never heard anybody doing it, but isn't that crazy?
I didn't know that. That's
crazy. Who knows?
I'm not going to bring it up though. I don't think it's going to go down too well.
Pay me and hire me. Like it'll go real well.
Yeah, exactly. So where was I? The audition.
Andrew Walker. So
I didn't know that at the time. I found that out later when he was on the show. But I had worked with the first actress, and then I had worked with Erin, and it was a no-brainer. I mean, it was just, there was something with Erin and I that was just easy and fluid. And I think, lots of the Hardys know that sort of story of that audition. And
what is it? What is the story that it isn't, just for those who don't know? So like,
right.
And just explain what a chemistry read is, because might be some people, probably a lot of folks who see this that don't know what that means. Like when it gets down to you and a couple people, they want to see how the chemistry is, right?
That's exactly right. It's as it sounds. So when you have a chemistry read, you'll read with 2 or 3 different actors or actresses, and the pairing, the casting of that, you'll find who has the best chemistry, who looks best on camera, da da da. And so that's basically what it was, and Erin and I had the best chemistry.
Right.
And that was it. We, in one of the scenes, I had to give her a compass or something, I can't remember now. But I had a set of keys on me in my pocket. It was my house keys. And I had a little keychain on it that my sister had given me in Hawaii. I still got it now. It's still on my keychain. It says, "You are right where you should be." I just read that every day. And it's a good one. And I pulled it out, and Erin's like, "No way." She pulled out of her bag the same key ring, but hers had a different saying on it. But it's the same thing. I got mine in Hawaii. She got hers somewhere else. But that was a nice little coincidence. Right. All the casting directors and producers and, suits laughed, and it was a nice moment. And that led us into the scene. So when we gave it, there was this knowingness of we had this shared experience, all of us in the room, and I think that was a nice moment there. But at the end of the day, it really just comes down to a look. It comes down to the delivery, the back and forth between the 2 actors, and Erin and I had it. So that was it.
Yeah. And then what was were you a part, was it initially a movie? So like, it wasn't always, I know it was going to be serialized, but there was something with Lori Loughlin and it was originally some film that then you came in at the point when it was already decided to be a serialized series. Is that right?
Yeah. So what happened was Brian Bird and Michael Landon Jr. had bought, I guess, the rights to the When Calls the Heart series of books. I'm not 100% on this, but this is basically it.
Okay.
And they had worked with, they had put together a film, right? And I guess they shot it in 2 different parts and then merged the film together. Stephen Amell, Maggie Grace, Bobby Montgomery, no, another actor, can't remember. But they had made this film, and I think that they had aired it on Hallmark. I'm not 100% sure on that. But I think the network and the guys thought this would be great as a series. And it is. So
Brad got involved in somewhere.
I think he might have produced the movie. So Brad Cravoy is the producer, When Calls the Heart.
Right.
And we can talk about him in a second as well.
Mm-hmm.
But they all got together and put this series together. And so I didn't know much about Hallmark when I had first, being given the series.
Right.
I didn't know. I didn't read the script. All I was given were those 2 sides, and I was offered the role. And so I was offered the role, and all I knew was I was going to be the lead of a series, the leading man. There was going to be 3-man cast, and I was going to get to carry a series, and I was guaranteed 13 episodes. So great, good job. If it goes well, great. If not, it's great money on it. Done. One of the main reasons I took the job was because I wanted to learn what it's like to carry a show as the male lead.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have that on Last Resort, and I never had that before.
Right.
So I was never the male lead where the show was sort of hinging on.
Yeah.
And I had at that stage like doubts. Can I do this? Can I pull this off? Am I good enough to carry a show?
Right.
And the answer is yes.
Yeah.
So I found that out later, though. That took some time for me to settle in and own my worth as an actor,
right?
And as someone that can emote through a lens, or have the audience emote with me.
Right. Be able to tell a story and carry. Like that's such an interesting thing you bring up, because there's so much pressure often on individuals, right? Like the leading woman, or even all the surrounding cast as well, to tell this story in a way that not just the network loves, but the fans can emotionally connect to it, and then that it's fun to do. It's like, it really, to be fulfilled as an actor, there's so many pieces that get involved, right? And like, are you telling the story that your soul wants to tell, and the network wants to tell, and the fans want to hear, and the writer is proud of? Like, there's so many pieces. It is magic when something works. And like, we're going into season 9, and there's certain blessings or miracles or magic that allows a show to keep going and keep going and keep going and telling stories. And you came in, and your first year, you were telling me the story about like how grueling the hours were. And because I'm speaking to you about now, where there's so many cast, and you almost have to like fight for airtime because there's so many cast that you look at the script and you're like, oh, I wish I'll speak for myself, that I always looking for more story to tell. But your first year, you were like, please give us more cast, right?
Definitely. I mean, we basically, that first year was Aaron, Laurie, and myself, and it was a brutally cold and wet winter in Vancouver that year. It was it was hard to work outside. You know what it's like when they shoot in the winter there. It's hard enough, but that one was particularly like cold. Aussie boy like me going like
Bondi Beach. Right.
But it was a lot of lessons learned, pacing oneself through months and months of shooting 12, 14, 16-hour days every day. You have to pace yourself, really. And I didn't get that, and I got sick a couple of times, and I was stressed. My the stress hormone, the cortisol levels were like off the charts. I was sick, man, at the end. I told you. So it was an amazing experience. I wouldn't change it for the world. I had such a great time. I'm just talking about the sort of those grueling aspects that you had mentioned. But I wouldn't change it for the world.
Right.
But that last week, you know, you got a certain budget, you got a time frame that you have to get the job done, and overtime ain't going to cut it once the money runs out. You've just got an end date that you have to hit. And so we were lagging behind, you know, with our shots. Days were sort of going over and over and over. And we got a hard out. This is your last day. Go do as much overtime as you need to. And so that last day, for me, it was a 24-hour day. You know, I arrived on set. I mean, it might have been longer, honestly. I can't remember at this stage. But I arrived on set early in the morning. Yeah. You know, 6, 7, something like that. You do it when the sun comes up, you know. As soon as you've got light, go shoot. And we just got to work as normal. Except what happened was, towards the end of the day, they had 2 camera units shooting at the same time in 2 different locations. And I was in every scene, right? So I was doing a scene with Aaron. I was doing a scene with Jack. I was doing a scene with Laura. And so I think we were all sort of doing this in our way that day. Like, because Jack came on in episode 10, I believe, and Pascal came on in episode 10 as well, around that in season 1. So we did get a couple more cast members that in that area. And we had a great, you know, guest star cast that, you know, we had our storylines with as well in season 1. But I was going between one scene, running over to the next set when they were setting up the next shot, changing my clothes. Oh, no, did I have to change my clothes? Maybe I was wearing the same clothes for these 2 scenes. Doing that scene in that frame size, finishing that, they'd set up that camera and run back to the other scene. And this went on for hours, just different scenes, different locations, changed a few times. And by the end of the night, and Aaron can testify to this, my body was shutting down. I was sick. I was so sick that I was like dry heaving, throwing up in a garbage bin next to the camera. I'd wipe my mouth like this, and I'd go, all right, I'm ready. And we'd do the scene, and I'd shoot, and I'd finish the scene, and I'd go and throw up.
Come on. Come on.
True story. And so that was like I think the second last shot of season, or second last scene that we shot of season 1 on that day. I ended up getting home at like 8 a.m. the next morning.
Oh,
it was brutal.
26 hours later, because you probably left at 5 anyway to be.
I can't remember. And yeah, that was a tough one. But you know what it did?
Right.
The director, Neil, you know Neil. He's just great. He's like, that's the best work you've ever done. And it took me a while to understand that. And I saw the scenes, and it was good, and it was raw, and it was real. And the reason is because I didn't have any energy for the bullshit. I just had that I wasn't acting. I was doing what had to be done to deliver the scene, and that's it. And there was nothing more to it. And then I realized that it's all up here, and all you have to do is say the words and be there without like putting on too much. Right. And I didn't have the energy to put on anything.
Right.
So I was literally there, and I was just there.
Yeah.
And there was nothing else to it. And, you know, it dawned on me, like, that's what they mean by just being. When they say just be. Yeah, don't act it, don't show me. Just be it, feel it, think it.
Right.
And that was a huge lesson for me as an actor to have that. I mean, you know, when I look back at When Calls Are Hard, it was always a challenge. The show had morphed a few times. In season 1 to season 2, I didn't think the show really knew what it was until season 3, season 4. And there was, you know, from season 1 to season 2, it was it was completely different kind of vibe, and then it settled into itself and
Yeah.
became what it is now.
Mhm.
I think in that third season, which was my favorite, third, fourth, fifth season were it just got better for me as it went on.
Do you remember? Do you remember waiting for the call? Because what some people don't get is we may have a 3-year contract, but we don't know from year to year if the show's going to get picked up or if we're going to be a part of it. So they have an option to use us again or not. And so there's, even if you're a regular, there's still quite a bit of instability, which goes back to you diversifying and creating all these other streams of income. As also my partner Kate and I have done, you sort of have to hedge yourself. Some long-term creativity and some financial stability. But do you remember getting the call at the end of season 1 and that you were going to go back? And do you remember that feeling? Was it a good one? Were you like, oh my gosh, am I going to have to go through that again? Or were you super stoked?
I was stoked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was look, despite the fact that I had left the show, right, on my own accord, for my own reasons, and we can talk about that if you like.
Yeah.
But I was grateful every day that I was on set. Every day on set is a good day, man.
Of
And,
course.
I was so grateful to just be working. And I had got to a point where I wanted to switch paths,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in a way. And so, yeah, I was excited about season 2. I love Vancouver. I love my castmates, as you know. And working on that show, oh God, it was just such a great time, man.
Yeah.
Really just such a,
Mm-hmm.
you don't know what it's like yet to be off it for 3 years. But let me tell you, when the show ends, if it ends, could go for 25 seasons.
Right.
It could.
We're
It really,
catching up to Little House on the Prairie
no,
soon.
honestly, it could. I really think that When Calls Are Hard is not only the backing of the fans, but the backing of the network. And it's, look, as long as the show continues to make money,
Yeah.
it will stay on the air.
When did
And
the Hardys start? Like, how did that, like you just mentioned the fans, how, and then I have to go to the bathroom. And I see you drinking water there too. So we'll take a little,
yeah.
yeah, we'll just pause for a second. Actually, let's just take a quick pause now. And I want to come back. I want to ask you about like how, when the Hardys sort of came about, and then we can talk about your transition off if you want to. How
All
that,
right, buddy.
yeah. Okay. 2 secs. Letting the hair grow is hilarious. There's sometimes when it works, and there's other. I'm doing the same thing, and it's just like other times it's just like.
Buddy, there are so many times that I wanted to cut this thing. You want to see?
Yeah, I want to see it. We all do. We all look at that. Wow, you could do like a Keanu Reeves surf movie. You could do Point Break 3 or a rocker. You should write yourself a rock like film where you direct it, you work with your buddy, your producing partner, and you get to play music, cuz I know how great of a musician you are and your voice. I want to, like that time I did a show at Hotel Cafe. I'm like, Daniel, come play for, like, you open up. There'll be people, there'll be a lot of fans there that love you. A lot of Hardys came to that show, and I love jamming with you. And I've recorded some like on video a few times where we played together. But
Yeah.
the fans have always want to hear more of your music.
Yeah, I've been writing a little bit lately, and I've been, there's a couple of projects coming out that involve some music in them, and I'm, I've spoken to my team about finding something in that world that could suit me nicely. So yeah, I brought my guitar here, so I've been playing a lot, mate. I've been playing a lot of country tunes.
Me too. Country's been kind of the thing. Do you know Colt? Have you heard of Coulter Wall?
No, hang on.
Coulter Wall he's from Saskatchewan, Canada.
Oh.
And he's a young kid. Right when he came on the scene, I think he was 19 or 20. And the kid sounds like Johnny Cash. Coulter Wall. And listen to Sleeping on the Blacktop or The Devil Wears a Suit. They're just, dude, it is old sounding country western, but this kid's young. It's like he's an
Oh,
ancient soul. That's great music.
I mean,
Uh,
dude, I've been Brett Eldridge. Eldridge,
he's
you
great.
know him?
I don't know
Yeah,
well. I don't know well, but you're like the 27th person to tell me this guy's name.
my good friend put me onto that, and
Do you have your guitar there? You want to play like a version of what you're working on? Do you want to just like play something? No? You sure? What do you mean? Ah, come on, Dan.
you play something.
Nah, no, no. This is your I play all the time. I really want
I'll
I
tell you
would
what. I'll play something shortly on a Facebook Live or something like that,
yeah.
or I'll put a video out. You know,
You should. You should the fans love those little oh, there you go. I think you're going to get it.
maybe I am.
Yes.
No, look
Yes,
at
yes, yes, yes,
it.
yes. So turn, on top of your screen, turn your sound to original audio. Do you see on the top of your Zoom? Uh, does it
I'm
say
not gonna
rich?
play a song, dude. No,
No, it's all right.
I just wanted to get it out and just play some chords while you talk to me. Go
Okay,
ahead.
got it, got it. What kind of guitar is that?
It's a Martin, man.
You travel with your Martin.
It's a
That
beautiful
that
piece
is
of machinery.
oof, look at that thing.
It's gorgeous, mate. It is gorgeous. It sounds quite nice. It's just
Yeah.
very nice, you know.
You gotta, what are you gonna do? Leave it at home? You gotta take your good toys with you.
Yeah.
What a tease the fans are gonna you're literally gonna break hearts. I swear to you, maybe 25 of the questions when I posted this picture of you and I, they were like, have Daniel play a song, please have Daniel play a song. But I get it, man. The audio on Zoom stinks. Like even as you played right there, the sound would come in and I'd hear a bit of a chord. It's just Zoom is not a musician's.
There you go.
It's
That's
rough.
my reasoning, my friend.
That's it. That's it. I'm helping you out. I'm helping you out. So let's just talk quickly about the Hardys, which is a phenomenon
Who?
of who, who, when did you realize on the show that there was this movement of fans growing that became what the Hardys was, and then there became these conferences, these Hardys family reunions, and then of course they somehow figured out Twitter. And it would became a big part of how well a show does now on Twitter when a show is airing is it trend. And so tell me about when you realized that this thing was becoming something special.
But the best part about it is that, it had nothing to do with marketing. It had nothing to do with the network. It was organic.
Yeah.
It came directly from the fans. And that's a real movement. That's something that means that all the people involved, the network, everyone involved with When Calls the Heart was doing something right. And it was connecting with an audience in a way that prompted a response, a positive response.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember I actually can't remember exactly when, but I believe it was season 1 when it must have been a fair few episodes had been airing. Definitely season 2. I mean, season 2 was really started to come out. Those Twitter parties and all that kind of stuff. That was when it was really starting to cook and grow momentum. But it was there from the start when it started airing. There, it started small. There was a spark. There was a spark of a few people that put this thing together. And I can't remember exactly when it was, but there started being this buzz about it, and there was these really dedicated fans, and they were having viewing parties, and they were getting involved with Twitter and things like that. So all these things were kind of happening early on, and it just, as I said before, just an organic movement that caught fire, really. I'm not sure how many, maybe 100,000 now. How many, Hardy?
I've heard numbers from all over the place. Depends who you talk to. I've heard as many as several million organized around the world. But then, like, there's a Facebook group that has, I don't know, a couple 100,000 or 150,000 or something. It's like they're just very organized. and very positive, and just, you know, it's a really unique thing. Like, I did a movie with an actress who was on a series, and the amount of fan engagement from her series fans, was honestly 1,000 to 1. And I had just become a part of When Calls the Heart and was doing a film with another actress. And it's the Hardys are very organized, and they actually know how to really create momentum. And I was shocked. This other show this person was on was massive, but the fans weren't organized.
That's exactly right. And so there's millions of people that watch When Calls the Heart around the world. The Hardys movement is is not known to all the viewers, which is a shame.
Right.
It is, because I think that if everyone knew about it, that loved and watched your show consistently,
Mhm.
there'd be I don't even know if they could handle more engagement. But
Right. Is there anything that you would like to say to the Hardys? Because I know you're absolutely one of their favorites that have ever come or gone on the show. And, you know, obviously, what any fans will learn, that if you love a show, your favorites do come and go. They're not necessarily going to stay on forever. It's just the way that all the pieces move, and actors have lives, and producers have decisions. And, you know, so is there anything that you would love to say to these fans that just love you so much?
I love you too. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm grateful, really grateful for the support. You know, it's it's a funny thing when you play a character that is beloved by fans. You know, there are a lot of Hardys out there that also follow Daniel Lissing as an actor, and other projects. And there's a lot of Hardys out there that follow Jack, you know. And so both are good, both are great, because it's positive engagement and it's a positive thing. And we're putting something positive out into the world, you know. We're doing good, in my opinion, in the way that we can through art. And you know, so let me just say that before I go on a rant I'm about to go on.
Yeah.
But I love you guys. Thank you so much for your support, and it is greatly appreciated. And I hope you continue to follow me as my career evolves and grows into areas that are separate from Hallmark.
Right. And eat your amazing burgers down the road, and like, you know, follow all things that you're creating, because these fans will follow you for life. Down, you've won their hearts.
I
And
think so. Yeah. I have a really good, you know, I have been in personal contact with a few real great people, great fans that have helped my career. Jeanette Stevens is one of them. She you know, she has the Instagram Hardy's Team Jack,
Yeah.
and my fan page, and manages that, and she's been awesome. And also, there's a lot of people that have, you know, come out to see the short film when we were premiering in Santa Barbara, when we were, you know, come to your gigs. These people are. It's a really unique experience being on a show like this, and having engagement like that, where it's not, you know, celebrity can be quite crude in some ways, and invasive, and tabloidy.
Yeah.
I don't feel that with any of this. What I feel is love and positivity, and a want of connection to the actors and the characters that they felt connected to. And that's a really nice feeling, you know.
Agreed. Now, I know it wasn't an easy decision for you to leave. Like, can you talk us through just that, you know, what you went through a little bit, and then that process of going, because it's such a family there, like, and
Yeah, yeah,
it's not, we're really grateful that that our film family is amazing, because when you're away from your real family, and that's actually one of Jeanette's questions for you, is having family on the other side of the world must be especially tough during a pandemic. Have you been able to stay connected with your Australian family? That was from Jeanette Stevens, who you just brought up.
yeah. The answer is yes. You know,
Yeah,
luckily we have Zoom and
right.
FaceTime and WhatsApp and all that kind of stuff. Where it's the longest I've ever been away from Australia, actually. So
Stuff.
it's yeah, and not being able to see these people
Yeah,
not too much.
right.
But yeah,
I just threw two things. I just threw a couple things at you. You what?
this too shall pass. You know, there'll be
Yeah,
a time. There's a time for everything. You know,
yeah,
and look, yeah. So going back to the question of, you know, it was a hard decision for me to leave.
yeah,
What was that process like? Was that the
yeah,
question?
yeah. Like, it just, I know it wasn't easy for you. There's it's to it I've put myself in your position many times, and I'm just like, that is, as an actor, to have guaranteed, in a sense, as much as much guaranteed.
Everyone said I was crazy.
Right.
And you
Yeah.
know, maybe they were right,
Right.
but
Maybe.
time will tell. Time will tell. And
Yeah.
I believe in my purpose, and I believe in myself.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in my journey,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't matter what anyone else says. You know, I've got a very clear vision of what I want to do and how I want to do it, and the path that I choose to be on in this life. And that's the thing, you know, man, I just loved playing Jack. I really, really did. If there was ever an opportunity to do anything again, I would not be opposed to it. But, you know, in life, you've just got to make the decisions. Whether you've got a career and you've got your personal life, and you've got to, when the two become meshed, that, you know, you get emotionally involved. That's when it becomes hard, and that's why it was hard for me, because I was emotionally involved with my work, and that's what it was. It's work, but then you have to weigh up. Okay, what's my purpose? What do I want to do? What do I want to achieve? What path do I want to be on? And how do I get there? What's going to serve me and my journey in the way that I envision?
Right.
And so, super tough decision to walk away from a lead actor of a television show in America. I mean, it goes. Let me tell you, 2012, Daniel would have been like, "What are you doing?"
What?
you know,
Damn.
my Australian friends that have been, you know, dying to come over here and work are like,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
You didn't know how good you've got it right now, mate.
Right.
And that's true, but you know,
Mm-hmm.
you have to follow your heart, and that's what the show's all about.
Right. Right.
You know, and whatever it is, even though people might not agree with you, if you are not hurting anyone,
Yeah.
you're doing something positive for yourself, for your family, for the rest of your life, then it can't be anything but a good thing. And so I just had to follow my heart.
Yeah.
And as I said to you before, since leaving, this has been a transitional period in my life, where I'm taking more control of my destiny
Right.
in so many areas of my life. My marriage to my beautiful wife, you know, family is number one always. My businesses, but it's been planting seeds for the future. You know, I'm going to be in this industry for a long time to come, and you know, having a few quiet years under my belt at this period of time, that's what I planned for.
Right.
Literally what I planned for. It wasn't the smartest time. Brad, this is what I was going to say about Brad Cavoy. He told me this is not a good time for an actor like you to leave a series regular show. You're not going to book a series regular at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because of everything that was going on within the industry in regards to diversity and all that kind of stuff.
And the Me Too movement, just the whole thing for white you and I don't check any diversity boxes on any
Yeah, yeah.
contract.
I mean, I'm a Jewish immigrant, but what am I going to say? Hey, I'm a Jewish immigrant. That ain't going to fly. So,
right. I'm a Dutch immigrant.
I don't
Right.
want to play that card anyway. Not that it is a card. You just do the work the best you can,
Yep.
and you go on the journey that you're meant to go on, and that's it. You
Sure.
can't control anything else out there. You cannot control anything other than what's going on in here. That's the only thing that you're in control of. Just this state of mind. That's it.
That's right.
And anything else is up to the gods, man. So, I've taken this period of time to realign myself and my direction and plant seeds in for what's to come.
Right. Right. And is that like, this is another question from a fan too, is like, what advice would you give then to somebody that usually the question is who's just wanting to get into acting? Because like you're a craft, you can tell you love the craft, and most Australian actors, and it's a bit generalizing, but really do show up differently than other actors from other countries. The Brits have a really deep kind of craft and theater and the conservatories.
Yeah.
And it's like, so what advice, do you have any simple advice? This is a fan question as well, that you would give somebody who wants to act and follow in your footsteps in some way?
Yes. So mentors are really important, by the way. So I have a coach. I've worked with multitudes of people that I look up to. You don't even have to know the person to emulate them or learn from them. So having mentors in your life and teachers, that's super important. And I'm passing that on. I'm actually working with a young guy in Australia that's calling me, and we've had a couple of conversations. But for the same reason, if I could give a little bit of mentorship or teach a little bit of something about my experience as someone that knew nothing about this industry or the ways of life of an actor. Mm-hmm. I'm happy now that I can impart some of that knowledge that I've acquired over these years to some younger actors. And so, great question. That's what I'm all about. You got to pay it forward. You got to pass it on, the knowledge. And my advice to someone that's looking to get into this industry is get to work. Love the work, because that's what it is. My thing is this, that there are people out there that are in it for the fame, and we're lying to ourselves as well if we don't think that that's an element of our thing. It is.
For sure.
But predominantly you have to, that's not a driving force, or a sustainable inspiration. But the work is, if you fall in love with the work, if you crack open character and scene and voice and, technique, that story, that's the inspiring stuff for me. Whoopsie. You lost me.
Awesome. Yeah, someone has asked if you have any regrets, so I want to ask you that one.
Okay.
Is Daniel going to be in him? Great. Oh, there you are. Look at that handsome guy. He's back. So this isn't your laptop camera. This is a different camera.
Yeah. So I do this for auditions, mate.
Cool. What's the camera? What's it?
I just got a little Canon, like it's old school Canon, that I plug in through the USB into the camera there. So you've got a nicer frame. Hang on, I'll show you.
And then how does it record audio through the camera?
Through the laptop. So check this out. There you go. That's the laptop camera.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
You got to kind of sit in here.
Yeah, and then it gets eggy when you're right up close. Got it.
Uh-huh. You know what I mean? And so when I've been doing these auditions, I've been using
DSLR.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah,
that's good.
And so it's a much nicer.
And you can adjust the light too if you wanted to. Did you know there's a webcam setting app that like you can, which is what I've done here, and you can really add shadow if you wanted as well. There's like,
cool.
It's just called webcam setting. It's an app, and then you can adjust color.
Webcam setting.
Yeah, look at my screen. Look what I do when I adjust it. So I go in, you can tweak, like if you're, let's see here, where is it? Oh, it's kind of hiding off the screen. Anyway, you can, oh, there it is. You can totally tweak, like if I want to make it darker like this and more moody, see how it goes?
Oh yeah, cool.
And then you can sort of, as your light, so if you have a scene that you want to make it a little bit more cinematic,
Yeah,
you can kind of play with it.
very good.
It's neat. So let's, this is awesome, buddy. It's really great talking to you. And
Great talking to you too, brother.
it's so great. I was really looking forward to, because we, lives are busy, and I love that you're in quarantine. So you really have no place that you're not, you have nowhere to go. So I knew we could get a really good conversation, a monster Joe Rogan size conversation. And this is what I think the fans really love, these long form, that we're not in a rush to get to the point. And I love that about, feel free, like to unpack these things. There's no rush. Like it's these type
Well,
of,
I do have a writing session actually. Hang on, it's actually supposed to be now, but I'm gonna just delay it for an hour, mate.
okay. And we can wrap this up whenever you want to. Is
Oops. Hey, Mikey, how are you, brother? Mate, I'm currently doing a podcast webcam thing with Mr. Paul Greene. Say hi, Paul.
Hi, Paul.
Yeah, mate, still going here, but I will call you when I'm done. All right, my man. Talk soon. Bye.
Mm.
Yeah, I've got to do this.
Cool.
Hey, Mikey, how are you, brother? Okay. Yeah. So I've got a writing session, but
right on. What are you writing? Are you writing on the series?
Yeah, we're putting our pitch package together now. So we're sort of creating the way we want to deliver that in a unique way, rather than just, your PDF template of like character, plot, the images. So we're doing something a little different.
I love that you're working with Mike, the guy that you first felt the spark from, and that means so much. And I love also that your mate, that the mate you're with that you practice your English accent with, or the American accent, is the guy that you wound up on the trip meeting the love of your life. Like these stories, if you're present to the miracles in your life, like there's no shortages of miracles. Like your life, everyone's life. If you're just, what would you say? Like, it seems to me like you seem like someone, Daniel, that enjoys your life, and that you love, you're a deep guy. You love your family. You love the craft that you're in. You love your wife, and you're in it. You're not taking life for granted, from what I can tell and what I know about you. And so how have you managed to stay grounded? Because this business can take your knees out in some ways. And can you start to believe your own hype that maybe you're the lead of a show, you're going to be this, and this? Like, how have you managed throughout these years to stay connected to your heart the way that how I know you as?
You hear that?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Thanks for the question, buddy, and thanks for the kind words. I don't think about myself like that. You just you have your same struggles and battles and ups and downs like every other human being. We put our covers on to present the public face to our family and our friends and whatever, but what's happening inside, only we know. Mm-hmm. Saying that, I'm lucky to be a pretty positive, naturally positive and optimistic kind of guy. I think I'm really big on self-development. I made a hell of a lot of mistakes in my life. A lot, Paul. I've sabotaged myself on so many occasions. I've had severe doubt and anxiety, and you name it. And I think that always with this foundation of having a feeling or believing that it's all okay, it's all good, no worries. and this too shall pass. So whatever it is, whether you're a lead of a show, whether you're, living in the gutter or lying in the gutter, figuratively or literally, that this too shall pass, and that nothing is permanent. And so that makes it precious in so many ways. And I guess I just kind of really want to squeeze the juice out of life as much as I possibly can,
Yeah.
Enjoy it as much as I possibly can. I'm starting, now that I'm getting a little older as well, I'm starting to understand what I want to put my energy into, and also the things that I did put my energy into before that weren't serving me. That cutting out of things that just don't really work for you, or relationships that don't, or that beautiful power of being able to say no. It's freeing. So self-development, knowing the self is huge. The more I know myself, the more I expand as a person, the more I can tap into characters that I'm playing as well. So, because there's more of me to work from. And then, dude, it's just a journey, the more I learn, the less I realize I know, So I'm just figuring out like everyone else. I mean, I literally know nothing. I have my beliefs. I've got what I believe my purpose is, but I don't know.
Right.
No one does. And if they say they do, I know that this is the truth. No, you don't. You're lying to yourself. Unless it's like 1 + 1 = 2. We know that. We know that this is a table.
Yeah.
We know that this is a bed, Right. Like there's things that and there's things that we believe. And I think it's just not holding on so tight to those kind of things and going with the flow a little bit is or being open to development. That's kind of really helped me a lot. In
what is your purpose? You just said your purpose. What is it?
Okay, so in this life, I'll put it very simply, but in my encounters, I want to lift people up. I want to elevate people through my art. Right? And so I can do that in my personal life, where I could have a conversation with you, and hopefully you got a smile on your face a couple of times, and hopefully you feel a little bit better before our conversation. So I want to bring a little bit of light and positivity into my interactions, and I certainly want to elevate as much as I can, or lift some of the weight that's on people through this beautiful medium of television and film. Because that's one of the things, man. We talk about culture and identity and things like that, and so much of our identity and so much of what we believe is what we see and what we hear and what we're fed through our television screens. It's just getting overblown now.
Right.
Let me just
can adjust it. I think what you need to add to your music, because every time I've heard you sing, Daniel, whether it's in your trailer or in the van on the way to work, you have that thing in your voice that does have the power to like lift people up. Like you have not just a beautiful tone, but you sing with fervent energy and passion. And it's like, it's as somebody who also loves to sing and loves music, I see a very similar love in you for music that I have. And I really just want to encourage you, man, to like, whether it's releasing those old songs on Spotify, or pick up your stinking guitar, put up Instagram Live and just play for a few minutes for your fans. It's such a beautiful offering. And it's like, our fans are so generous anyway. Wouldn't matter if you stunk the bed. It's like you're putting it out. And I've
really enjoyed watching you play, man, and your passion on there and your engagement with everyone. It's great. In fact, it has inspired me to pick up the guitar again, because I go through stages, mate, where I am where I'm focused on work and life and acting, so much so that the guitar that's like hanging on my wall in my living room is just like sitting there for a month or two on end, and I'm like,
Well, I have a weekly schedule that I've just said, listen, I'm going to be live at this time, and it guarantees, Daniel, that like I do vocal lessons twice a week,
Which is
and
great, man.
I do, and sometimes my lives go long because it's I fall in love with it so much I just keep going, but it's like a set schedule that guarantees that I'm continuing to do what I love, because as musicians we do get busy and we have to pay bills, or things come up like family things, and our guitar will be like, come play with me.
I totally get you, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back to the fans. Do you have a big question I've gotten many, 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 many times for you?
Yeah.
Is, do you have any regrets about leaving the show, or any of the decisions that you made surrounding When Calls a Heart? No,
No,
I love that.
no. I mean, you could play the what if game and
Sure.
go down that rabbit hole, but no. I mean, my regrets are few. They're not worth mentioning.
Because you wouldn't have met your beautiful wife, right? You
Of
wouldn't have
course,
been.
so there's all of that good stuff, and all the seeds that I'm planting now, and that thing. But really, it's not so much regrets, but working with you guys was just so much fun. I miss it in certain ways. I miss working with Aaron. We had such a great chemistry, back and forth when we were on set. I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I love working with the horses. Canada's beautiful. I loved working in Vancouver. So I miss it in that aspect of things. Like when I see, your Insta stories or whoever's in stories of set and being there, I'm like,
yeah, like right.
Pascal posted something the other day, and I was like, I wrote a message just saying that. Oh, that just makes me so nostalgic of that beautiful time. There was a period of time in my life where that was my world for 5 years, and there was a beautiful, beautiful period of time. Great, no regrets. Grateful for it.
Right.
And onwards now.
And onwards. So, and onwards, what is next? Like, I know you're doing this show, and I know you have all these businesses. So, like, and these the things you're creating. So, what's immediately next for Daniel Lissing?
Well, so I'm shooting this pilot right now. Yep. If this gets picked up, that'd be great.
Yeah, and would you be a series regular on the pilot? On the series?
No, I'm recurring on this one.
Got it. And what's it called? The cleaner? The cleaner?
Cleaning lady.
The cleaning lady.
Yeah. So hopefully you hear of it. I mean, it's worthy of many seasons based on the pilot. The writing on the pilot is really exciting, and it reads well. So and I know the director, a gentleman named Michael Offer, an Aussie guy actually, cool. And he's phenomenal as well. I think they've got a great cast, and it's going to be a nice. I can't see them not hitting a home run with it, but you never know in this industry. You just never know. But look, man, I want to sell, produce, star in my own television show this year. And so that's what we're working for, and we're gonna do what we can to get it made, and we're just putting all those pieces together right now. So it's a project, man. It's a huge undertaking, but having that creative control is something that's appealing to me in so many ways. There's stories that I want to tell in a way that I want to tell it that I think is unique and exciting, and we'll see how that plays out. But in the meantime, just enjoying every opportunity that comes my way, living in the moment. That's one of my goals for this year. Be here now.
Yeah.
That's it. Because when you dwell too much on the past, you look too much to the future. That's where depression lives in the past, anxiety lives in the future. But right now, right in this moment, man. This is where the happiness is. So
It's true.
So that's one of my main goals for this year, is to really focus as much as I can on trying to be here, you know.
Do you have a book or something that really has inspired you to do that? Like, is there a book that was a bit of a, because you're especially in the world of self-development.
Yeah.
Is there
I
a
work with a
couple?
coach as well, just so you know. I do work with a development coach. You know, I have a mentor that I work with. Like, we haven't really worked too much recently, but we for 4 or 5 years, you know, I really knuckled down with a coach who happens to be an acting coach as well, if need be. But we predominantly worked on sort of self-development.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I'll talk to you about that afterwards if you're interested in having a conversation.
Yeah.
It just sort of it's about perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
I certainly was like, in my 20s especially, I get it. I know what's going on.
Yeah.
You do. I do.
Right. Yeah, we
but you know, I read and watch a lot. I don't think there's one particular book. I just, you know, a lot of stuff I throw out as well. Even working with my coach, you know, doesn't hit me. It doesn't inspire me. I don't get it. It doesn't.
Sure.
What's the word I'm looking for?
Inspire. It doesn't work. It doesn't inspire. Like it's
right. And same with books that I read or
yeah,
shows that I watch or whatever it is, speakers I see. But I take the nuggets from everywhere that really do, you know,
right.
Of course, moments, they're always good, but, you know, you just sort of take what works for you and throw out what really doesn't, you know?
Yeah.
I think. And then you know, build up your basket of information.
Yeah, and I love what you said about having a mentor and then also having somebody you're mentoring. I mean, I think it's one of the most powerful ways to keep developing and growing is to be teachable, and then also to teach what you're learning so that it doesn't just get trapped as information in your head. It's like practically lived and shared, and your life is a contribution. It sounds like what I'm hearing from what you're saying, and especially like I was going to ask you what your billboard, if you had a billboard, what would it say on it? But I think from what you said, I know the answer. That this too shall pass. That's what I'm imagining from what you said. Is there another thing you would put on
another billboard? The billboard says "This too shall pass," and then you drive a little bit further, and it'll say "Be here now."
There you go. Yeah, there's those. That's it's such a, we're human beings, right? But we live our lives as human doings. We just get so freaking busy that we're never in this moment to appreciate the crease in our love's face because we're so worried about, you know, something else. And we're such doers. To be able to be here now, like you said, is such a profound way to live.
Super hard though, but yes, it is. And it's impossible to do it all the time, but it's a nice goal to never get to.
It's nice to wake up that you have the blind spot that you're never present, and to be like, oh, there's actually a life where I can be present. All right, we're gonna do rapid fire of a couple fan questions, and then we'll wrap this puppy up like a hot burrito, so you can go.
Sounds great, brother.
So you can write this epic show that all of these millions of fans that are watching this are gonna follow you and make sure that your new show trends and becomes such a a household name. So for would you rather?
Hopefully.
Right. So this is from Asha. Asha loves Pascal. For the both of you, this is a question. Would you rather have a rewind button or a pause button on your life?
Pause. Never go backwards.
Right. I would say the same. That's a great question, Asha.
I like that.
I've never been asked that before. Like I would definitely.
Some moments you want just to last a little longer.
Yeah, but if you could rewind, you could go back and buy Google for a nickel or Bitcoin for a nickel.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking of it like that, but in that case, I'll get a
let's go back.
Well, I get a rewind button, and then you know what? I'll see you in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm. And this is Lucia says, if it's still in their projects to do a movie with Aaron as your Lucia, hi, your chemistry is
Sorry,
unbelievable.
can you repeat the question? If there was
It's not really a question. She said if it is still in his projects to do it, he's there. She's asking if there's any movies that you know are coming with Aaron, as she believes your chemistry is unbelievable.
would I like to work with Aaron on a movie?
Uh,
Yes. The answer is yes, most definitely. I think that would be brilliant.
yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Your chemistry together is amazing. And then she's like, I'd love to hear him play his guitar with you. Unfortunately, the way Zoom works, I've tried it before. We'll have to do it another way sometime when we're in person.
Yeah.
And then this is Sandrine, a new project. We got that. Uh, tell Daniel, this is from Chloe TJ Schoen. She sounds German to me. That Daniel has the most amazing, awesome fan base in the world that is made up of a couple of nice online friends that they've met as a result of being in your fan base. And
Yeah.
this is Chloette as shown, and she says you're also you have very devoted fans, and they always vote for you on the best of the list, most handsome Australian actor,
Well, thank you.
and that you're winning, of course. Yes, they're hoping we had a good chat here. Yeah, your fans are very
Thank you.
loyal.
Thank you very much. That was
Someone's
Chloe.
asking him what happened. What's that?
That was Chloe.
That was Chloe. I guess we're gonna call her
Chloe.
Chloe. It's tricky to say her name. Ploette Ashon.
Okay. Thank you.
This next one is from Marianne Fleming, and she's asking what happened to Rip. And I know some fans know what happened to Rip the dog. It was such a big part of the show.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, he passed away. He was pretty old, Basset Hound.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's gone, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what? It's so funny. I just got a little puppy, my wife and I, and we named our dog Oscar. She chose the name. And then I remember seeing someone say, "Oh, that was Rip's real name, Oscar." And that completely slipped my mind because I didn't really bond with the dog too much. He was on set for, you know how set dogs are. They're just there with their trainers and whatever. But it didn't dawn on me that happened. But that had nothing to do with each other. But we have a little Oscar that was born after he passed. So
wow,
the name is on.
What kind of dog? What kind of dog is Oscar?
He's the best dog in the world.
Is he a rescue? Like a rescue?
No. We went through a breeder. We got a beautiful King Charles Cavalier.
What is that? What is King Charles Cavalier?
Proud dad moment. All right. Hang on a second. Yeah, I used to laugh at people that had fur baby and da 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 da. Now I'm like, well, I don't care what you think. I'm in love. I'm in love. And you say, oh, where is he?
You can kind of tell. It's got.
Hang on. Have you seen my dog? Oh, there he is.
Look at that guy. How old is he now?
He's like 7.5 months now.
Oh, yeah. Still a little puppy.
Yeah, he's a good boy.
I'll say Brooklyn, you're lost in it. You're like, look at my little baby. Look at this guy. Brooklyn Elizabeth is asking, you what?
Oopsie. Our recording stopped on this one, but it doesn't matter. Here you go. Third time recording.
Third time's a charm.
I'm in love, mate. I'm in love. I'm in love with my family. I got my little fur baby, and I got my wife, and life's good.
Life seems good for you, brother. It makes me happy to know that, in our business, it can feel disorienting sometimes. And like you said, we never really know how things are going to go. We have to be in the moment and just make these decisions with our hearts and these choices.
Yeah.
And just
with everyone though, dude, not just in our industry. I mean, in anyone's life. I mean, predictable and knowing what's going to happen very quickly becomes pretty boring, and so also impossible because anything can happen at any time, and that's what's exciting. The unknown, what's around that corner, can be a place of fearfulness or a place of excitement, depending on your perspective. So, yeah.
And that leads
deep with you, man, because for the folks at home, Paul and I are very like-minded guys. We have a lot of interesting conversations about life and purpose and all that good stuff. So you're probably getting a lot of that on here. Both of us don't know what we're talking about, but we're giving it a shot, you know? So that's what you're getting.
Right. Well,
We've got our opinions, like
well,
that.
you said earlier something really deep and really meaningful, and I love the fact that you don't think of yourself that way. Says a lot about you. I mean, spiritual ego is quite unattractive on anybody. But you had said that it's the impermanence and the knowing that things are impermanent is what makes it so special. And you
Yeah,
just hit that again, like not knowing, and nobody really knows. Like, especially a pandemic could come and all of a sudden have most of the countries lost their jobs. Not most, but like a large, everything changes. And it is, if you're in the moment, like you said, it is what makes life beautiful and special, is these cracks, these things that don't go the way we think they're supposed to go.
yeah.
And then you discover you're in a new land. Like,
Yeah, man. I mean, for better or worse, you know, things happen.
yeah.
And you know, I guess it's how we tackle it that matters, because you can't control, like I said before, you can't control what's happening out there, just how you approach it, I suppose. So yeah, that was a tough one. I mean, it was a tough year for a lot of people, you know. You were so lucky to work, man. Like the show went forward.
I know. I know.
You know, Canada did a pretty good job. Australia's done a great job. But just working, man, is fantastic. It was hard. It was hard, you know, for a lot of people, including myself, you know.
Yeah, because the bills keep coming, and you got used to living a certain way too, and then you have to really adjust. How did you get through this last year in lockdown? Like, what are some? And then we could actually we'll talk about diet real quick, and then we can wrap this.
Yeah, and you can throw some more fan questions if they have any.
Yeah, let's do it. There's there's a lot more. What was the best part? This is from Rebecca Campos. What was the best part of working together? She's in from Brazil. I'm not sure if she means you and Aaron, or just like you and I, or the.
Let's talk about you and I, seeing as we're talking here.
Let's do it.
Friendship, best part by far. Hanging out outside of set. We didn't work a lot on set, but
that's right.
You know, those little times. We haven't hung out like in insane amounts, but the times that we have, I've always enjoyed it.
Yeah, the time with Martin Cumming, and then the time with Andrew Walker, those are like the most kind of hilarious.
I mean, I can't think of it too many other times outside of that when we were there in Canada, which is crazy. I mean, we're just on different schedules when we're shooting.
Yeah, just a little bit with the music here and there on, like, you know, in the trailer or something. There's a couple moments, but yeah, different schedules and different, and
that's right.
And here in LA too, we still haven't done our hike in Topanga. I want to show you those caves. There's
buddy. I mean, you know, pandemic hit and it just changes how you operate a little bit. But
so Cheryl McKinnery just wants to say hi. She's from Melbourne.
Hi, Cheryl. Oh, Melbourne.
Yep.
I lived in Melbourne on and off for a fair few years with a band, so I love it.
Is it more of a band town than Sydney?
Yeah, it's great music down in Melbourne. It's a great hub for good originals, you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can't. Kate, my fiance wants me to go to Australia with her so she can. But the pandemic, we want to go see her mom, who's out and
wait 6 months, bro, or even till next summer in Australia.
Yeah.
You know, November, December, January, February, March, April. Beautiful.
Yeah, then we'll go see that.
And you might see us there too.
So many fans just saying hi, and that hearts, and they're so happy that we're doing. Everyone's like, sing a song. So I'm telling you, Daniel, I am imploring you to grab your either Instagram and just put your stinking phone, just the iPhone, Mike. If you put it on, if you put it up,
you talk me into it. I'll do it before.
And there's such a great feedback too, because these people are stuck at home, Daniel. It's a way to lift people up and give. It checks so many boxes because people are stuck at home. you give them entertainment, and then you also get to practice with a little bit higher stakes than if you're just by yourself in lockdown in New Mexico. And when I was in lockdown, I played a lot. I had so much fun. People are loving our photograph together. That's one of my favorite pictures of us. Is that
we look good, don't we?
We look
really.
It's a good picture.
Happy. We look good, man.
We're going to use that for this podcast too.
Iceland. Yeah. That was so nice. That was such a nice dinner. Yeah.
It was such a great dinner. That was. I'm trying to remember who else was at that dinner. That was at that Belgium place. That was great. Where we have mussels and there's a Hulda here who wants to say hi from Iceland. When you were in Greenland, wait, you were in Iceland.
Iceland.
Do you know Hulda? No. It's hard to
say. You know Hulda?
You wouldn't know Hulda. It's, I wouldn't know. She says hi from Iceland.
Hi from Iceland. No, of course not. I don't know everyone in Iceland, brother.
You have a special place. Iceland has a
it does. Yeah. Iceland has a very special place in my heart. Just the people are great, but the nature, the air, the water, I just feel good there. I mean,
I love that you're a part of an Icelandic water, like a spirit company that uses water from. I love how it tells me you're present, Dan. Like there's a miracle there that you experience, and then you find a way to bring that into your life and to grow it. It's really, you can tell all these different experiences you've done that with. Especially, I love that you're working with Mike, and that's how it all started.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's a nice circular thing. So
it's gorgeous.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Everyone's just saying, please come back to When Calls a Heart. No one's gotten over Jack. No one. I would say the majority of my messages is like, When Calls a Heart is not the same without you. That's Christina Vago. Pamela misses you so much. Shelley Bottager is forever Team Jack, forever. Nicole Smith's wondering if you have any plans. If you have any plans to release your music in the future, like these songs you're writing now, like you can self-publish, and I can help you with that. It's so freaking easy now. You just get a distro kit and you put it out on Spotify, and people can hear it. It's like easy.
Mate, this year I've been thinking about it for the first time in years.
Great.
So, I mean, look, that's marinating now. So I'll get to a point where I either bite the bullet on that or I don't. But I'm starting to really be inspired by music again.
Mm-hmm.
And want to get creative with it again. You sort of shift your focus and your creative energy, and So anyway, that's a good possibility.
Good possibility. I can give you my vocal coach too. I do him through Skype and Zoom, and it's like a half hour, and he just takes you through scales and exercises, and just it's such a great
for sure, man. Because I used to sing 6-7 nights a week.
Right.
I was in 9, and then you don't, and that muscle, I mean, you get it, but yeah, that might be nice. We'll talk.
Yeah, he's wonderful guy. He's helped me. I work with him a couple times a week. Awesome. More people asking us to sing together. Can you come back and swoop Elizabeth away from Nathan and Lucas? We are the other two guys.
Of course, I've done it.
Yeah, he's come back in a dream. Everyone's asking you to come back in as a ghost, and as a dream sequence, and rescue Elizabeth from the love triangle. Are you even connected to it in any way? If you had to pick, that's been asked a lot too. Who would you pick for Elizabeth, of Nathan or Lucas? Would you choose?
Yeah, team Lucas or team Nathan?
Yeah.
I'm team Elizabeth. Whatever Elizabeth wants.
You're team Elizabeth. All right. What's best for? How cool is
it for her? I mean, I haven't watched the recent season, so I don't really know what's going on.
Okay.
But my gut feeling is that they'll go with the Mountie again. That's my gut feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think that seems to be, from what I'm getting anyway. Right. I haven't seen it, but it's my vibe. That's
your guess. That's your guess.
That's my guess. Okay, is that right. it will be Nathan and Elizabeth.
Okay. And the baby is named after Jack, of course.
Well, yeah, it's going to be one nice happy family.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never met my son. He's one. There's twins, right?
Yeah. That I mean, the fans don't obviously. You shouldn't have twins, but there is two that take turns when one's having the gas or something.
Gotcha.
Right. They like. I think they have to for shows like ours. You have to have
No, no,
twins.
they do. They all the time. They do that. That's normal.
So many interested in you doing another Hallmark movie, and
Yeah. Look, I would love to do another Hallmark movie, mate. You know, far out. We should play brothers in one.
that's what honestly I think. You
You
know,
know what?
and you
Hallmark do a bromance.
right, totally.
How much fun would that be?
Yeah, it would be. I've
You know,
always thought that going after the same girl, and it's like doesn't matter who gets the girl, or maybe we both don't, but it's like the journey of there. It like if I would love
well,
that.
you know what? We should write something. We should write two brothers
Yeah.
or two best mates meet two best mates and they hook up, but there's a crisscross going on where we're the wrong girl.
We're with the wrong girl, and that
Because we have to figure out a way to tell each other, and they have to figure out a way to tell each other, and then we have to figure out a way to tell the other girl how we really feel. And the girl, I mean, come on, that's a nice 90-minute dramatic love quadrangle.
I love it. I love
You
it.
know,
Let's
that'd be
figure.
fun.
Let's. You heard it here, folks. Let's figure that movie out. We'll produce it. We'll get Brad on board. Let's make this thing happen. I think we should. I really think we should. Who's a co-star you would love to work with that you haven't worked with? Like in general, you could say. Pardon.
I was going to say Paul Greene on Love Quadrangle.
The Love Quadrangle. All right, well, we can stick with that. Are you coming back to The Rookie? This is what Jen Woodrow wants to know. A lot of fans love your character on The Rookie.
That's nice. I really like that character too. I've got one episode airing at the end of this month. I believe it's the 28th. And you're just going to have to watch to find out what happens.
Oh,
It's
another.
going to be a dramatic episode.
Is that right? Oh,
Yeah.
that doesn't sound. That doesn't sound too. That sounds a little scary. I think the fans are would be a little nervous about that.
Good. You need a little bit of conflict and drama on television.
Well, the conflict. Yeah. How did?
It's a great episode. I will say it's a great episode, and I like. There's a nice surprise. I'll say that there's a nice surprise with that character.
And was that on NBC?
That's ABC.
ABC. You've seen ABC loves you, huh? It seems like
I've done a few shows with ABC. I've done a few with Warner Brothers now. This will be my first Fox show, this one here, but this is Warner Brothers as well.
Was Tony Sepulveda involved in any way with that? Or
yeah, he was, mate. So Tony Sepulveda is
mutual friend of ours.
A mutual friend. Yeah, he did invite me to play Mafia last night, by the way. I don't know if there was a game.
No, me either.
He doesn't like us anymore.
Wait, was last night Tuesday? I didn't get invited either.
Oh my! You know what? Tony doesn't like us anymore.
Tony, what happened? What happened?
What happened, man?
We play this virtual game.
I was actually supposed to. There was this great show. He does a show called All Rise, and I got a great recurring audition in to the other day, and I texted him. I said, "This is your show, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's my show." I'm like, I'm going in for it, baby." And he's like, "Aren't you working right now on one of our other shows?" And I'm like, yeah, but I'm going to make it work. And then I get a phone call like 10 minutes later saying, they're shooting right when you're in lockdown in New Mexico. You can't do it. And I was gutted because it's such, this character, you know, you read auditions sometimes and you're like, ooh, that's exciting. That's cool. That's different. I was really excited. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do the audition. But I take it hard when I, you know, either don't get something that I really want, or if I don't get to do the audition I really want, you know, it's I do love this. I do love this stuff.
I know. It's one of those things, but you're so smart, Daniel, to be creating your own show and be creating your own entrepreneurial stuff and you know, have these give backs built in, because I think as an actor, if in any career really, if you just put your focus on the one thing and that gets taken away from you, it's like your identity gets so wrapped up in it. It's like you can step back a little bit from it. And things like a pandemic like this force us to step back and go, what is my purpose? Like who did you see the movie Soul yet?
Oh yeah, that's fantastic. That got me. I'm a crier.
I'm a crier.
We're criers, bro.
In
I'm
movies
not
especially.
I mean, look, you know what? Real men cry. All right.
You hear that here. Real men cry.
It's true. Man, there's nothing wrong with being in touch with emotions, man. Locking it down, that's when you start to get the negative side effects of that. But long story short, I cried in that movie because it was so beautiful. I mean, it's such a beautiful movie. What a great message.
I did too. The part that spoke to me the most was the lost souls, where they get focused on one thing, like trade stocks, or I'm not good enough, I'm no good, I'm no good. And it's like people get lost in their minds, and then they carry all these layers of pain body on top of them, and they can't tell the forest from the trees. They did such a profound job of knowing that nothing's going to make you happy, meaning like if that guy played for that jazz at the end of it, he's like empty. He's like, the beauty was like what you had shared.
It's that thing of attainment, once I do this or achieve that, then I'll be happy. We've heard it a million times, but it's not out there. It's just not out there.
No, it's in that little leaf that he watched fall and he held it in his hand. That was his spark, was just being present and enjoying the little things, the gumball thing, the all the things he collected from his day on Earth. Is just like, if we're that present, the magic that we can enjoy in this life is so rich if we're present.
That's exactly right, man. Yeah.
Dude, this has been so great. I'm really glad that you were in lockdown, that there was that we could have this kind of a long, because I know the fans have really feel like they know you, Daniel, and they really, and they.
Well, I've tried to be as open, as much as I can be, while still, retaining that element of privacy. But certainly I want to give to the people that give so much to me in this aspect and this world.
And you have now. Before we say goodbye, is there anything that you want to share? Like, I want to make sure people know where to find you. I know you're not a huge on social media, but it's still, if people want to follow your journey easily, where can they find
you? I should post more. I'm pretty hopeless, but please, yeah, if you're going to put it up on the screen, that's great. But it's at Daniel Lissing. Is my Instagram, Daniel Lissing.
And when's your first Instagram show?
And one thing I want to say, I'm sorry, at D Lissing for Twitter. But one thing I want to say is that that there are some fake accounts out there of people writing private messages and asking for things or pretending to be me. I don't do that. There's only one account, and I don't write private messages to my fans. I just keep it all pretty generic and general on there. So if you do get a private message from a private Daniel Lissing, I'm the one with the blue tick, the certified one, and no one else. Just so you know.
I'm really glad you're bringing this up, bro, because this happens to me 3 times a day. People will interact with me in a way that we're talking somewhere, and I'm like, oh, you're being duped again. And it's like I almost like need to do a post every month to say, look, we have a blue check mark. We're like, that means we're official. No celebrity, whoever's listening to this or watching this, no celebrity is going to reach out to you ever and ask for anything ever. They're not. If they do, they're a scammer.
Yeah, I totally agree. Unless it's like a no one really has to be individually.
No, not even for a charity. The charity, they would post
a big general thing on their original page saying, "I'm working for UNICEF. This is a thing." You go through their website, da da da.
But if it feels too good to be true on the internet, you guys, it is fake. It is. And I'm sorry, so many broken hearts out there. Daniel's not chatting with you on a Google Hangout, and neither am I. Daniel and I maybe will go to a Google Hangout and chat or something. but no, it's just not that. I'm glad you brought that up, Daniel, because and the people send money too, Dan.
Yeah. That's just...
It's heartbreaking.
These people should be ashamed of themselves. These scammers. I mean, honestly,
Yeah, I know.
I want to say harsher words right now, but anyway,
I
folks,
know.
just
It's during, especially during these hard times where some of our adoring fans are probably don't have a lot, everyone's a little bit shorter on cash, and like that they would think we would ask them to send money for something. So I'm glad you brought that up. And so they can find you at D-Lissing on Twitter and Daniel Lissing on Instagram. And this show, it's going to be coming out on what I know it's Warner Brothers and it's ABC, but is it going to be on ABC's main channel, the house cleaner, the housekeeper? Sorry.
Oh no, so sorry. That's the rookie. So the rookie is when it is, and that's on the, I think the 28th of this month.
Oh, that's when
And then Cleaning Ladies, the Fox pilot, and we're not going to know if that's going to get picked up to series until the upfronts, which is that's a whole other thing. And if it does, then they'll go to start shooting the series, and then that will air in the fall or whenever they do it. I'm not sure.
Right.
Or in the spring, I'm not even. Fall maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Okay. So there's lots of opportunities, and including the show you're creating for your fans to be able to see more of you.
Yes, and I will, Paul. I promise you, mate. I'm going to do some music.
Yeah, I'm going to hold you to it, man, because it is a thrill. And then we can talk about fitness another time. Eating right for your blood type is something that is.
I want to just talk to you about that anyway.
That's great.
Personally.
Yeah, I'm always learning. Everyone's body's different, right? And it's like always fine tuning. Like, does this food make me feel great or like crap? And if you feel like crap, you throw it away. But it comes down to being present, right, Dan? Like, as you're putting.
I wish I was more present with my food, though. I got a massive sweet tooth, man.
Yeah,
that's my thing.
Yeah. That'll take you down.
Man.
That'll take you down.
Anyway,
we can talk more about that later. Thanks again, Dan, and best of luck with this amazing project. It sounds really fun in New Mexico, and I know the fans will love just this quality time with you and here in this type of a thing. And it's a gift that you're giving them during COVID too, because a lot of people can't leave their houses. Like there's parts of Europe that are on another lockdown, so it's great that we can give this to them now.
Yeah, it's all you, brother. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for making it happen. I love you, brother.
Love you.
Okay.